Okay, now we quickly move on to our next session, which is another interesting one. We'll have a keynote on BaaS as a growth engine, monetizing APIs and driving revenue for banks. Banking as a service, BaaS, is transforming traditional financial services, enabling banks to collaborate with fintechs and enterprises. This session will highlight on how APIs are unlocking new revenue stream for banks, enabling seamless embedded finance for businesses, and transforming traditional banking into a BaaS leader. Please welcome Mr. Abhijit Singh, Group Head, Banking as a Service, BaaS, HDFC Bank, to the stage. So let's welcome Mr. Abhijit Singh here.
Hi, good morning. Uh, good morning, yeah, good. So what we'll do is we'll make it a little fun. I think there are a few of us only here. Any ideas or any thought that you have, what do you mean by banking as a service? So that, it starts as a starting point and I know you all are awake and then we can take it forward. Any contributions, any thoughts on what banking as a service is from any one of you? So I have a tough task at hand. We'll start off. So I think in the olden days, if you look at it, we used to put up branches wherever customers are. So you would see, that a lot of branches are on MG Road or, those roads in various cities. What we are trying to do in banking as a service is look at how can bank actually come to the place where you transact. And today's world, it could be the new apps that you use, Zomato and things like that. So I'll start with a bit of context and come to that point. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So over the last 20-25 years, banking has changed a lot. And largely, I started my career when, we had branches and, we were in the middle of a core banking system. We had made the first mobile app. We started off with, feature phones and then went into smartphones. So a lot of technologies have actually started to come in play. Things like, APIs, you had Gen AI, cloud, all this is coming in now, but it's mostly about APIs and cloud, which actually got us to this point where most banks have a mobile app. Most banks are, available on WhatsApp and things like that in India and overseas. So everything has moved towards on-demand, embedded, platform-driven services. That's what we talk about as tech jargon. Today, tech and banking are not very different. Earlier it was all about paper. You really didn't need technology. But today, without technology, you can't think of banking. So most of us, when we put numbers, we actually keep into mind how much technology projects or what are the things that we are going to be doing. Yeah. And largely all this is getting driven because of this one culprit, which is also taking away your attention from this session. So it is the mobile phone. Can they close the door or something? Yeah? So mobile has actually become the most important thing. You see that, you got your office emails also on your mobile. Right now also many of you are constantly on WhatsApp, messaging people. Some are possibly checking Instagram, Facebook. Look at how important a role mobile is playing for us today. Everybody is on mobile, and studies which I think underestimate, there are some studies which say we spend 7 hours a day on mobile. Yeah? I'm sure you spend a lot more time on mobile than just 7 hours a day. Yeah? And that is what's changing the construct of banking, that we need to be now available in the bank. Yeah? And look at what all we do. For health, we again got an app. For entertainment, we again go to the mobile. For banking, you've got, let's say, apps that we've got: groceries, travel, networking, most of the times in Mumbai in the morning, people forget their stuff. So they are either doing Blinkit or, or they are doing Zepto or whatever, small groceries. I was surprised that, during Christmas party, we had somebody was having a Christmas party and we had the whole party and we forgot to get those Christmas caps, the cone-shaped caps which are there. Surprise, that's also available on Blinkit. And in 10 minutes it came. Yeah, just imagine where technology is taking us. This is where, while banks have done wonderful thing on UPI and other things, but have we reached that point on other products? Payments, we have actually way ahead of the world, but are we there in mutual funds? Are we there in current account? Are we there in savings account opening? So there are many avenues which are there, and as a bank, we are trying to see how we can do things better here. Yeah. So here we've just put in, how banking was there. So pre 2000 to 2010, 2012, we were looking at brick and mortar banking. Then it's in the 13, 14, 15 when really the mobile took off. So during this phase, I remember till 2013, 14, 15, even if the mobile app was down, nobody noticed. Yeah, only the people who headed mobile banking noticed. Now, after 15, 16, everybody notices. So when I was the CIO for one of the largest banks, I never got a call that core banking is down. I got a call that mobile banking is not working. So that's the power that mobile banking started to have. Now we are looking at invisible and embedded banking. Yeah. So for us at HDFC, what we have done is that banking as a service, what does it mean for us, for a big bank like ours, is how can we provide these services embedded in various applications. So we are working on that whole hypothesis, actually started to do a lot of good work there. So today, key finding, 75% of Gen Z actually want to do mobile banking, yeah, or want to bank via fintech. So they don't even want to come to the bank's mobile app. They want to do everything while food is getting delivered. And use cases like that. API calls are exceeding. So there's a lot of pressure on API, a lot of pressure on work to be done on the API front. Yeah. Now, what does mobile give us? Yeah. And why it is so important to banks? Yeah. Or why is it so important to BaaS? Yeah. It helps us actually hyper-personalize. So for example, here, some of the use cases that we are working on is we are integrating with various applications. So it could be, let's say, a very hypothetical use case that, you have an entertainment platform and you have a banking platform. How does your taste in entertainment guide what you are going to do with your money? Yeah. It could be, you want to go to a Coldplay concert, which needs hotel booking, which needs air travel, things like that. So can that all be bundled as an experience while we talk to various other parties? So it looks at, how does the bank, because most of it, everything if you look at is money. Yeah. Whatever you spend is money. Whatever you enjoy is in the end some money. Whatever you read is money. Yeah. So if you read a newspaper, if you are a subscriber on Money Control, you are paying money. Yeah. If you are watching on Netflix, you are paying that monthly fees, which is coming through a bank account. Yeah. Does the bank know what you're doing? Or does the bank want to help you determine your choices? So those are the opportunities that it opens up. So as a BaaS unit, then we can look at, how can I empower you? If you are a person who's traveling, is a credit card which actually takes care of your travel needs the right product for you. Yeah. If you're into food, is, let's say, our Swiggy card the right card for you? Sometimes, intuitively we decide this is the choice, but sometimes data is showing us a different dimension. Sometimes it tells us also as a bank, can we bundle different products? So some of the data which it is showing us when we are now looking at how can we empower you, very new possibilities of bundling products comes. Yeah. How can you, know me, show me, how can it delight me? This is where we are looking at as BaaS, how to take banking forward. Yeah. Any questions so far? We can make it very interactive if you guys have any questions. Yeah. Then what are the enablers of BaaS for us? Yeah. So one is certainly API. And the thing here is that, it differentiates from the typical APIs that banks have. So in a banking system, you will have a mobile app as a customer. you're used to one way of experiencing it, or one way of giving the experience. Now, in this case, when you're putting an API, and you'll be surprised that if I want to do the same fixed deposit on app A versus app B, there's a completely different mindset in which, people are delivering the same product. So for us, it opens up different ways of doing same thing. It opens up our minds that, this is how an XYZ app looks at fixed deposit or a savings account or a current account, and this is what they look at it, yeah. I'll just give you one simple example that, when we as bank were trying to integrate with a fintech partner, the first question was, can you explain to us how the fixed deposit will be closed and money sent on the second day? Yeah, which is like kind of crime for us in a bank. Yeah, so bank's first thing is, if money has come in, it should never go out. Yeah, but how does the mind of a consumer app work? Returns is the most important part of buying anything. Yeah, so you want to know, because you're trusting a faceless app, whether if I don't like the product, will it be returned? Yeah. But in banks, return is not something that we like, yeah. But it means we have to change ourselves, and so we have products, where our thought process, design process change. That return is also very important. The more, if you look at Amazon, or even if you look at Blinkit or these apps, why are they popular? Because the return, there is no questions asked, and you therefore come because of that confidence to do more business. So API is very important for us. API gives us the freedom to actually give different kind of interfaces for the same product on different apps. And as we go live, you'll start seeing it, that in some of the apps, the same savings account is being done in a different way, same fixed deposit is being done in a different way. The other piece is around data exchange. How do you send data to fintechs? How do you ensure that customer is protected at the end of the day? What are those encryption methodologies you put? What's the amount of data that you want to share between the two? Very important to take that into account when you scale up BaaS. And lastly is about monetizing banks infrastructure. We need to also see, how do you get relevant and right customers into the bank's infrastructure, so that you don't bring your infrastructure down, but actually monetize it rather than become a liability. How do you become an asset for the bank infrastructure? Then the other piece which is coming up, which are more like, so these are our enablers for BaaS. Then how do we expand? Is all about the embedded finance revolution. How do you embed yourself into various applications, into various journeys? Where is it relevant? Yeah? If you look at it, Uber would not be Uber if you were able to pay very quickly. Yeah, so whole payment infrastructure is helped. Amazon would not be Amazon if every time you bought a product, you have to put in your credit card number. Yeah. All these things actually rely on a very strong rail of finance working. Yep. So how do we embed there? What's the fintech versus a bank synergy? Now here we have understood very clearly that what the fintech brings to the table is customer experience. What we bring to the table is deep knowledge of banking, compliance, service issues and all that. How does the collaboration between the two actually add value to this whole relationship? Yeah. And the last point is, we want to be where the customer is. So philosophy is very clear. I am not going to impose my thought process onto the application. I want to be there. It's like a branch in that app or that traffic which is coming into that application. So these are our enablers or the expansion of banking points. What business impacts we are seeing? It's completely new revenue streams. We are becoming more hyper-personalized because we have now started tagging ourselves into various events in the applications. So it's far more contextual now. Now our financial services, because of this, is reaching a wide number of customers who would actually want our services, or who think we can serve them. So it gives us actually a lot of, we don't have to really depend on a branch now. I can reach anybody anywhere. Given that we have so much payment infrastructure that most of the top 3-4 banks do, it's a big blessing in disguise to be here. Huge amount of cost efficiency. So these are the benefits that we are getting out of this particular initiative. What are the products that one can do on this? Is definitely the personal loans, auto loans, which we all know. Other big use cases are invoice financing, supply chain financing, overdrafts. These are these things. So the other pieces are that as we are doing it, We are coming up with new ideas, and the other day we saw the SEBI chairman talk about mutual fund plus insurance. Yeah, so there's a huge amount which banks can actually bundle. So can we move ultimately to the Swiggy, Zomato kind of experience that when you want to buy another product, it is very seamless, and not like when you buy a product, when you say I have a savings account, now I want a credit card, a new form comes up. Yeah. So how do you move away from that experience? How do you do customer onboarding first and then do the products? Yeah. I'll spend some time here. Uh, this is actually the crux of the journey to becoming a BaaS leader, and I think that was the topic of this keynote address. It's very important that the foundation is strong. Yeah. Without a strong foundation, it is very difficult to actually scale things up. So we spent a lot of time building these foundations, that what should be the kind of API infrastructure that we actually put in place. Yeah? How can it be simple? Yeah? How can it be extensible? Yeah? How can you actually look at various experiences being there? So we looked at classical, it's not rocket science, but classical technologies, where we looked at how should the system APIs be designed. For the more technically gifted people in the audience, how do you look at system APIs? What should the process APIs look like? How extensible they should be, that for every new experience you don't need a new set of process APIs, and a completely flexible experience layer where you can actually customize very quickly, because you've got so many apps to go to. How do you do time to market points of view? How do you take care of time to market? Yeah. The other piece is on collaboration. So the biggest problem that anybody has is when you want to integrate with a bank. Yeah. All of us know it. Inside the bank, outside the bank, it's a multi-month project. Yeah. How can you collapse that into a week? Yeah. So that's the piece that we have been working on. We are not mastered it yet, but some of the places where we have actually crunched it to a week to 2 weeks to actually get the development, testing and all that done, but we are learning constantly. So that's the most important part of scaling up a collaboration like this. Then the third big important part in growth is, how do you ensure that fraud does not happen? How do you ensure that, because now you are sourcing or doing transactions on a platform which is completely new to you, you are also learning. What are the kind of controls that you put in place? Let's say the API, you're integrating with a certain partner. We make sure that the partner is up to those security standards. But every, mishaps happen. So how do you know that, let's say your API has got compromised? How do you stop it there and then, so that no more transactions happen, your bank does not suffer any problems, and in effect the customer does not suffer at the end of the day. So very important to actually focus on risk and security part of it. And surprise would be that most of the data, most of the technologies, most of the skills are actually available in the market. There's nothing that we need to import from anywhere. All the knowledge, everything exists. Yeah. The other piece, which is now gets into more the softer side, is how do you do a ecosystem orchestration? How do you get people together? How does this aggregation happen? What are the principles that you put in place? Yeah? What are the stacks that you put in place? What's the insight that you want to look at? Yeah? How do you, let's say if you're lending on another app, and you have a credit policy, they have a credit policy, how do you ensure that the right customers are coming to you, so that you don't have a disappointing experience at the end of the day, that you say, hey, so much loan is available, but sorry, I can only give you 20,000 rupees. Yeah? So that whole part is also very important at the end of the day, and combination of all these three, you get a fully empowered, fully integrated BaaS offering. Yeah? Making sense so far? Any questions? So this is my final slide. We're talking of, BaaS is a big innovation for banks, frankly, so it changes a lot from the normal digital transformation that we are doing, and takes us into an area where we are actually now open. It's like open banking taking to the next level. And therefore, for banks, the time to invest is right now. With that, I've finished my stuff. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful and patient audience. If you have any questions, happy to answer. Thank you. Yeah, Lalita, please.
Test.
It was a big challenge to get the branches accept internet banking and mobile banking those days, right? Now you're saying, okay, I'm taking the bank and putting it elsewhere. How big is this a cultural challenge for a bank of your size, and how are you dealing with that?
So after this, I'm doing fireside chat in which this question is there. But just to answer, I think it's about, it's classic change management. How do you take people along? How do you explain to the people that, so our story here is that if let's say a branch, and we did a time and motion study here. So let's say opening of a savings account on a tab takes about 5 to 7 minutes to open an account. Yeah. A person on a normal day does between 10 to 15 accounts. Yeah. Which means he's working for 50 to 60 minutes a day, depending on if he's opening 10 accounts or he's opening 15 accounts, he's busy for 2 hours. Rest of the 6 hours, he's actually trying to get a customer. Yeah. Here, we have actually solved for reach for him. So he's able to actually reach out to a large number of customers. Yeah. The other piece is he's getting the experience which Indigo Airlines first started, customer as maker. So everything is already pre-filled for him. So when he's meeting the customer, it's all pre-filled. It's only the video KYC leg, which you're also seeing how can it be completely automated and completely without a person and very simple to do. So these two things are already done. What he has to do is now the conversation to cross-sell. So what does he get gold on is number of accounts and number of attachments or number of products he's sold. Now, what we did was, of course, it's easy to give theory, but difficult to practice. So we did actually pilots in few areas, few branches, and actually did a time and motion study that this is actually helping the person. We have no interest in, removing the job of the person because we have to improve the share of the pie. So a lot of support has actually come in. So now it is a mainstream one. And the last thing is, that I've learned in all my life, never take credit for anything. Let the branch and other people take credit. So now it is their application. So they call it their application and they are rolling it out. I don't know whether I answered it, but this is what we've done. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, so a very nicely structured presentation. Thanks for that. So you talked about efficiency, and then one thing we have personally experienced from the RegDec partnerships with a bank, that so there are two questions to it. One is the efficiency part, that is there a duplication of, see basically you'll have to share part of your whatever that margin is to make it cost effective because somebody else is doing it on behalf of you, but you also have to make something out of it, right? Whether finally he's your customer. So that is on the cost side. The other part is how difficult or easy it is to change the core. That is our personal experience, that while fintechs obviously have the start like almost fresh, no greenfield projects, yeah, but this has to be reflected in a workflow on the core side also. And there was one bank where there was a lot of discussion in actually we spent time saying how will we embed this in our current workflow journey. And nobody wanted to take a call on that. I mean, that's the other story. But so how has it been your experience? Okay. Yeah.
So I come from the experience of doing about 30-40 core banking migrations in my life. Yeah. So I'll tell you that, every core, if you use it properly, has got APIs which are actually there. So if you just don't put the workflow in the core banking system, life is easy. So what we've done here, we've got a core banking system and we've got all APIs which are coming out of it. The process API which I say is actually the workflow layer in your language. So that is the workflow layer. And then what we've done is we have not embedded the experience in the workflow. We have taken it out and put experience outside only because of our use case that there will be different apps which will come in and they might need different experience. So that's how we have done. While there is a project which Ramesh is running of modifying the core and actually making it world-class the way you are talking about, which is a good thing to do, but it's not stopping our business because he's been able to give us APIs which we are able to take forward. So that's how we have solved the problem for today. But you are very right. Your observation is absolutely bang on.
Thank you, sir, for your session. I have a question. Banking is a business of trust. Now, when you are going and sitting in the mobile application of an end consumer, embedding yourself in these new age applications, somewhere you are passing a part of your reputation to them as well. This means if they do something which is not appropriate the bank's reputation also comes at stake. So how do you mitigate that risk in this relationship?
Yeah. So what we do is we actually, if you see, we work with very good founders who have a very strong track record, and there's a whole kind of a process that we run with whom we will partner. So we don't partner with anybody and anyone. And once you actually come to our product, so it might start, let's say you're a marketplace, it starts with a loan. Ultimately, when it comes to an HDFC Bank product, the pages are HDFC Bank color. The branding is HDFC Bank, so you are taking a product from us and you can expect that kind of trust. But you are very right, we don't partner with everybody. We are very selective and choose the right partners which actually add to our brand or complement our brand. Yeah.
Check. Ladies and gentlemen, since we're running short of time, we'll take the rest questions offline, yeah? Thank you so much,
Thank you.
sir, for making it so interactive. It was very, very interesting, and we would love to appreciate and thank you here by presenting a memento. Requesting Vikrant sir to kindly do the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it a little louder for Mr. Abhijit Singh.